Thank you, Obi. Yeah, we got nothing else to do but then another show right now. So here it is. It is the market recap show. Today's going to be a good one because we've got Miss Danielle Shay coming through. So that should be a heck of a lot of fun coming through for tonight. So we'll welcome Danielle coming out. And we have to mention that this show is brought to you by Benzinga Pro. Get this locked and loaded. We're going to have our earnings coming through right now. We are going to say a big welcome to everybody that's staying with us. Of course, Danielle wants to talk all about tech, so we'll do that. Thank you to everybody that's here, and a big thank you again. Thank you, Obi. Thank you, Andrew, for mentioning that again. What a good one. Feels like a Free Fall Friday coming, potentially. We did see some sort of, chinks in the armor today as Apple went back down to the downside, and we'll talk about that. We will wait to see when some of these big earnings plays come through, including everything that's on the board there. Nike, Lulu, and FedEx is really what we're looking for. All right, I mean, today's day was really disrupted by Apple. I mean, we got that DOJ news coming through on AAPL, and yeah, it was a pretty negative story there with, I think it was 16 states now looking into what's going on with Apple. So it's a nice downside push, and of course, you can see here, let's go to a 5-minute chart. Boom. I mean, we had such a great run up. If we flip over to the daily, what a great run it was for Apple. All of that taken out in one day. It's Hydration Nation. All right. Again, really brings the NASDAQ down with it, but fortunately enough for us, today the NASDAQ was a green day. Nice little rally there at the open, but to close it did pull back. There's the NASDAQ making brand new all-time highs today. So, sometimes that's a reason enough to sell it. I don't know. I feel like weakness in the market. I kind of am like, I listen to other people and they say like good news, bad news is good news and good news is bad news. And I just want good news. I mean, I would rather the market not have a healthy pullback. I mean, what we can do is also set stop orders. So if we do get that monster day that just flushes down, like NASDAQ down 3, 4, 5%, maybe those days is what we need for capitulation to the downside. But I'd rather not just see a high and then fade out and then just keep on fading to the downside. So I don't know if that's a reason enough to sell highs today, but that is what happened on the NASDAQ. And you can see it's a nice push down, kind of starts midday in and around noon, and then there's the flush back into the close today. Not a great day. We saw PDD yesterday give up some earnings. Today, again, same kind of move back down into 122. If you just look at yesterday's trade, look where PDD was, up at 151. I mean, this flush down today, again, another 7% down for PDD. So potentially, man, some of these Chinese names will continue to get hit down into the downside there. What were some stories maybe today? Let me just quickly have a look here. And sometimes Adara will send me some sector highlights. Not much happening today. I mean, industrials, we had a monster move up, so we can go on. Was it XLI? Are those the industrials? Yes, it is. So again, nice move upside today. Look at this. I mean, you want to talk about GE, General Electric, really pumping to the high side. We've sold all of our GE. It was a good move for that. We talked about Caterpillar, Deere. Look at XLI, man, just really breaking out again to the upside. A lot of talk about IWM. I got to put IWM up on here. We don't have it as a small cap sector there, but the Russell 2000 ETF starting to get going. And this is a more interesting name because on the weekly chart, you can see we've just taken this level out. So I think Brendan and I talked about this on one of the past podcasts. IWM, one of the only kind of major ETFs. I'm not talking about TAN or lithium or anything like that, but IWM trying to break higher. All right, let's go over now. We do have, I got to put this back out here. Let's get a 1-minute chart going. Lululemon is apparently out. So let's find out what Lulu's doing right now. We were expecting from Lululemon again, we were expecting to get $3.2 billion, EPS forecast $5.1. We'll figure out what's going on. Whoever's selling Lululemon ain't a friend of mine, but there it goes to the downside right now. Lululemon getting clocked, down 4% here. If I can go over to Benzinga, I will get those numbers. I don't see them on Benzinga platform yet, but Lululemon is getting hit down to the downside right now. So there it goes down. Thank you so much, Lulu to the downside. Oh my God, Lulu's tanking. I mean, I think sometimes we got to slow stuff down and worry about what a tank actually is. Down 4%, not too much, but there it is, 7%. So here's Lululemon. Gap, EPS beat. beat 529 versus 497. Sales, beat on sales. It must be the guide. So right now we're seeing a top and a bottom line beat on Lululemon right now. We will pay attention for the guide because you know what? No matter what I say, ball don't lie. Lululemon making the moves to the downside. This does not bode well for Nike, in my opinion. So there is the flush down on Nike. Someone fat fingers Nike down, potentially making a play on Lululemon earnings as Nike's starting to go down to the downside right now, down into $100. Let's flash back to Lulu. We will wait for FedEx coming out. So Lululemon still, the only numbers I have is a GAAP EPS beat of 529 versus 497 estimate. They also beat on sales. 3.205 billion versus 3.194 billion. So it's a top and bottom line beat. I'm guessing there's a little bit of a guidance issue. But as Brendan mentioned earlier today, you are sort of, making a nice little frown, smiley face to the upside, but that smiley face is going to turn upside down in a quick minute as we go back into 447 right now for Lululemon. So a little bit of a push back in for that. I still don't see anything the other way around right now. So that's Lululemon. We'll still check back in on Nike. Everybody in the chat will let me know, it looks like Nike's flushing right now as well. So, okay. We talked about Nike possibly having a good quarter based on CPI from China being higher than expected and possible buys coming through on China. We talked about their holiday is a big gifting season that we just had, the Chinese New Year, moving into the new year here as well, heading into summer months. Let's see if we can get a good guide from Nike. Remember, not just an athletic shoe company, apparel as well. We know that spending, credit card spending's at all-time highs as well. So I would have thought that could have been a benefit for both Lululemon and for Nike. But right now, I still feel like it's a fat finger. I don't see Nike earnings out. And then let's just go back over to Lulu one more time. There it is. So nice little downside move for Lulu. Now coming back. FedEx is now out. FedEx announces a $5 billion buyback program right now. Nice move up for FedEx. Maybe it's a flip, man. Maybe we got to get away from some of these tech names and go over into some of the industrial names like a transport here with FedEx, obviously shipping. So a lot of underlying stories here with FedEx. Wow, there it goes. A nice upside move for FDX. So everybody celebrate that. We'll see a big gap down there on earnings, man, right into support. But where's the report for FedEx? So let's go find out right now. There it is. FedEx higher third quarter. 351 versus 386. That seems like it's a miss. So we'll wait to see if we get anything else on FDX. Third quarter diluted 351 and adjusted 386. Sorry. So that is going to be a beat. Here it is right here. 386 beats 345. Sales miss, but they're beating on the top side. Plus add back the buyback for FedEx, and we get a nice 10%. What? 10% move up for FedEx. That's a nice. Now FedEx right back up to those highs again. Hey, look, you want to doubt FedEx? This is what happens. They punch you in the mouth. Nice move off of their last earnings report down to 249. Now FedEx goes, hello. Nice upside move. Bang on that one. We'll ask Miss Danielle Shay about FedEx as well. A nice upside move on that one. Nice move for FedEx, taking out some high levels right there. All right, what's up with Lululemon? So here's what we're looking for. We thought maybe the guide might be weak because they beat on both ends, right? So right now, Lululemon, 2.17 billion to 2.2 versus there it is right there. So the Q1 revenue doesn't look great. 225 looks like they're guiding to the low side. 235 to 240 versus 255. So definitely a low side guide there for Lululemon, sending their shares a little bit lower right now. I still don't see anything on Nike. So maybe Nike's not out, but wow, FTX, a big winner there on that one. Wish we were in that. We could go find some of the other plays. UPS, look at this one, bang to the upside on UPS. That's a good little look there. Let's just check back in on Lulu. Yuck, Hydration Nation time. We had a fun time last night, by the way. It was a great time at that AEW event. I'm going to show you guys my kid. For those of you, he was absolutely loving it. Where is it? This is me on the walk and talk, 1.6K. Thank you so much for all those views. This is what I was doing last night. Yeah, baby, here we are. Look at this. We were like 10 rows. So there's floor seats. Then we were right up here. Here's my guy right here. Yeah. And then we were watching some wrestling, and it was a lot of fun there. This beer in my hand, that's $20. Wait, do you see it? Oh, it's 20 Canadian though, so whatever. Okay, whatever. Maybe you don't see it anyway. There it is. Oh, there it is right there. All right. Anyways, we'll we're feeling pretty good. We're feeling pretty good. A little bit of a late night, but what's not feeling good is Lululemon as it's taking down lows right now. Lululemon, more downside pressure coming through that name. You know what's amazing? We keep talking about this every single day. What's up with the banks, man? Danielle, what's up with JP Morgan? When will this stop? When will the fun stop on some of these banks? XLF, upside. JP Morgan, Shawn, why did we sell this name? Up to $200 right now and just really going crazy. Their report coming out pretty soon, man, April the 12th. The last time we had Danielle on, she was talking about potentially getting into some call options or at least looking, because some of the bigger names to come through, including Microsoft, they're coming April 30th. So we have a little bit of time to get involved with Microsoft. But look what happened to Microsoft today. New all-time highs. And I mean, last week when Danielle was here, maybe we were in the low to mid 400s, taking out highs. And I remember that was one of the plays that she had. And if not, then I'll give her credit for something that she doesn't get, but she's been calling some nice longs in some of these names. She also mentioned to me about IBM. Maybe we could talk about IBM because that's also a nice little pullback in right now. Let me just double check what Reddit's doing right now in the aftermarket. Okay, kind of flat right now, so a nice little move there for Reddit in the after hours as we wait to see what's going on there as well. Good day one for Reddit today. I mean, a lot of people are going to say, hey, maybe it wasn't that great, but you know what? It didn't fall completely on its face. Whoops, that's probably, let's go to a 3-minute chart right now for Reddit. So here's the open, nicely done to the upside, really got cooking. And this is what you can expect from most IPOs, where you sort of get a few candles really early that are just going to go ham like this, right? Like a nice open all the way up to 58. That turned out to be the top. We didn't pay for shorts till the end of the day and lost on the short. Nice move down in there for Reddit. How did we trade Reddit, you might say? Or if you didn't say that, too bad. We're going to show you right now. This is what we did on Reddit today. We left a pretty calm day for us on Reddit. We didn't really put too much risk in here as we hit some of the tech names. But there was that dip buy. We wanted to play it back into VWAP. We've had Brian Shannon on the show. He has a chapter on anchored VWAP and how that trades. So we wanted to buy those dips into that. That was $3. Then we bought the 50 dip. We got out when it broke 50. Then we bought some 48s, got out when it broke again. Then went short, took profit, got out when it broke 51. So kind of a flat day there on Reddit, but we are negative on that, and we'll be trading Reddit a lot, I would think, anyways, coming up in the very near future. So that was my day there on Reddit. And Danielle, we always talk about Tesla. So let's have a quick look at Tesla and see what's going on right there right now. We had some good trades on Tesla. Tesla actually a pretty top stock for me today. We wrote down on the sticky note, and by the way, where's that sticky note? There it is right there. We wrote down there 74 longs on Reddit. So we'll go over to our on Reddit on Tesla today, and there it is right there. Tesla 174 long, dips into yesterday's break level with the FOMC. So that was a good trade there for Tesla. It dipped into 174. Our best out's the 50 period up there at 175.20. So that's $1.20. Then it happened again, and that time we got VWAP up there at 175.50. So that was a bang up trade there on Tesla. I do want to say thank you to everybody for watching right now, because it must be, the Danielle Shay effect. We always have a nice amount showing up, over 3,000 right now, and whenever she's ready, we will call on Miss Danielle Shay and go over some of these ideas that maybe she has heading into over the next little while. So that's Reddit. It was a good day there. We did talk about XLU and utilities being the downside, and then finally, we get a little bit of a pushback here in GLD today as gold finally, maybe, definitely maybe, pushing down here on GLD for one. So before we go to Danielle, let me just check on the 3 earnings names here. So FDX, FedEx, wow, man, that's a good little name there for FDX. Huge move to the upside again. Nice one. You don't see this name jumping 11, 12, 13%, really, unless it's on earnings. Their last earnings call was a complete disaster, and this one, we're all the way up here, taking all those levels out right now, up to 291 and change for FedEx on a buyback. So $5 billion share, $5 billion share, not 5 billion shares, repurchase back there. So a good one. that's really what's been helping. We saw Adobe with the 25 billion share buyback as well. Looks like FedEx is going to say we'll do that as well. A little bit less though for FedEx. All right, Lululemon now taking down lows, and I don't think we have Nike out yet. So, Nike in my ear right now is out. So we'll get that with Danielle live, but it looks like Nike just kind of wants to dance around. I'm hearing it in my ear, a report of 77 cents for Nike. We were expecting 69 cents. So that's good so far. We'll have to see what's happening right now. Nike just dancing around and not much happening, which leads me to our trader talk. Let's bring in Danielle. Hi, Ms. Shay. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
I like that eat, sleep trades. We're not doing too bad. We've had a busy couple days here. And wow, we had Astera yesterday on that IPO and then Reddit today. Did you have a chance to look at any of those?
Yeah, looking at Reddit, I think it's exciting. I think it's going to be a ticker that we're definitely going to be able to trade. I typically like to avoid at least the first day, second day, maybe the third day. We'll see. But I generally like to give it a little bit more of a pattern before I get into something like this because, I am a technical trader. But what's also really exciting about it is typically about 3 weeks later, once there's enough volume, we start seeing options trading on it as well. And since it's such a low price stock, that is definitely something that'll make me interested.
We did see that explosion in ARM, once the options started to get going, and then they came out with their first earnings release and then boom to the upside. But I don't know, you're probably watching our podcast or listening to it anyways. If you're not, check it out because come over to my screen. I talked about my trade idea from last Friday was to buy Nike. And right now, there goes Nike, nicely done to the upside. And we're cooking on this one, Danielle, because here's that talk that we mentioned. We said, hey, the Chinese are spending right now, higher CPI. We had their Chinese New Year. And look what happens. They beat on sales. That's exactly what we're talking about. Now we'll wait to see if Nike can come through with a better guide. I hope so. Into the summer months. There's Nike up to 103, just a small 3%. But any thoughts right now on Nike? I mean, Lulu's going one way, Nike's going the other. To me, maybe Lulu's more attractive because we're down that 7%. But any levels or any ideas here on Nike?
Yeah, sure. So, Nike has about a $7, $8 expected move. And, I think the thing that's most important about it is all of this resistance. So, you can see it's been in a downtrend. Great call, by the way. And since it broke through resistance at 102, and currently, at least during the overnight session, it's breaking through this 105 area. If you could see a gap up above this 200 simple on the daily chart, above the 100 simple on the daily chart as well, if you could get up above 106, then there's a good likelihood for that to continue to the upside.
Oh, we just wicked like basically 105.88 right there, Danielle. So look at this. Look at those wicks. Wow, you just nailed that 106. Let's see if we can get going on that one for sure. What about the downside? I always like to look at even dollar levels, like 100 and change on that. But off earnings, obviously, I would still think give it a couple days to breathe. Is that something that you'll generally do? I know you're trading some options and you like to maybe get out before earnings. But are these levels that maybe you would start to institute new call buying off of this kind of a report?
So, it all depends what it does on the gap up the next day and if there's continuation, because a lot of the time when you have a company like this that's in a downtrend on a daily chart and you have this area of resistance, if it just gaps and it's underneath these levels and it's stuck there, then in that instance, it's probably better for a short. So you definitely have to be careful if you're trying to be long Nike when it's rallying right into this zone, because if it can't get through it, it's going down. And then if it breaks 100, that will not be good unless you're short, of course. So for me, it's all about the gap and whether or not it can gap up above 106 and stay there.
Danielle, we have some nice talk here in the chat. Mr. Nick Free, come over to my screen right here and I'll show this. He wants to say thank you, Danielle Shay. He started trading options recently because of you and made a ton on Micron. So there it is. Oh yeah, Danielle, let's talk about Micron. I actually tagged you this morning in this play, and I was thinking that, again, Micron with a little bit of more of an aggressive move than we had thought coming out today. I wanted to see a continued rally into here. here, but I think I'm getting smarter and learning about these things. I only wanted to take it if we broke above the pre-market high in here of 114. That never happened. We played a couple dip buy opportunities here in Micron. They didn't really hold, so we kept getting out in and around 110. So a negative day for me on Micron, but just a cup of coffee, as it doesn't really do anything too exciting. So what do you see here for Micron? We didn't get that continuation, but it looks like it wants to hold in and around this 108, 110 area.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with you, and great job managing that, because that's what it's all about for me. Because when you have that overnight high, that creates an area of resistance, and I'm always looking at the 15-minute range, the first, when the market opens. So for example, like this gray area is going to be the overnight price action, and the black area is going to be what happens after the market opens. In this case, you see that key psychological area of resistance at 115, and that first 15-minute bar is down. So when you get that and you're not able to break through the high of the first 15-minute bar, that is when I do not jump in on a long after we've had a big break higher after earnings. So yeah, I mean, with that one, I would say if you were in it before earnings, I mean, it's awesome. You did a great job. If you have the stock, I mean, great day for you for sure. As far as overall levels and what to do with it here, I would go back to a weekly chart and see if we could throw some fib zones on here. Looks like the first target was met around 115, and your next target overhead is going to be around 128. So I think there's still more upside in the stock, if you're just holding it on a longer term basis, but the momentum trade just didn't come through to the upside today.
Yeah, so do you use Fibonacci's quite often to look at levels like that? Because we did have somebody on the show, the Fibonacci princess, you may know, Tammy, she uses those quite often. But is that something that you incorporate pretty much in all of your decisions?
That's right. I love Trader Tammy and I love Fibonacci. So everything that I do has technical analysis incorporated, and Fibonacci is absolutely the backbone of what I do. I mean, it's how I determine resistance areas. It's how I determine support areas. It's how I place all of my price targets for my options trades. Of course, I overlap those with my options chain, looking for high open interest and volume, but Fibonacci is the basis of everything.
All right. People in the chat are asking me to ask you about DraftKings. Did we talk about that last week or a couple weeks ago? Because apparently your play on DraftKings is pretty hot fire. It's been really great, man. We talked, oh yeah, that's right. We talked about March Madness, didn't we? And that
we did.
Right. And then we talked about all the gambling that happened. I mean, you were even watching the Super Bowl. We talked about Miss T Swizzle there as well. Definitely creating some action in the, should I know that that's what people call her, T Sweezy and all that stuff? I have too many young kids. But anyways, DraftKings continues to be on a nice run, taking out some levels. Are you still in the name? What are you looking for with DraftKings?
Yeah, so when you look at DraftKings, I've already taken profits on this one because it's already met my extension targets. So again, I got Fibonacci on it, and this is all about the squeeze, guys. This is the number one setup that I trade. I combine it with my Fibonacci analysis to determine price targets. But, what you're looking for is you're looking for consolidation. The stock was consolidating. It had some major volume breakout signals, and that's exactly what you want to see. You want to see a break to a new high. I had a first target. Really, my first target was down here because it was at this area of resistance at 45, secondary target at 47, but next target's 50. So yeah, I mean, we talked about this one on your show. I also made a video about it on my YouTube channel as well. But love trading the squeeze, love trading Fibonacci, and hopefully some of you were able to make some money on that.
Yeah, it sounds like they were, because the chat really liking that. You mentioned that you love Fibonacci's, but you also, Danielle, love. Hey, I got to talk to Danielle. Where's the one-on-one here? I'm going to ask her something. There it is. You mentioned loving Trader Tammy and loving Fibonacci's, but you also love Trader TV Live, right?
Of course. You are the absolute best.
Oh, why, thank you. Now I'm going to be blushing for a while. I needed to hear that. No, all right. Lululemon continuing the downside, but you made a lot of people also some good money on Microsoft. And again, we talk about this all the time. We'll talk about levels and ideas, but it's really, I got to give credit to a lot of the traders out there, because pulling the trigger is really what it's all about. We talked a little bit about that on the show. And I'm going to ask you a little bit of, it's not a personal question, but it's more the history of your trading. How long did it take you, Danielle, before you really started to get aggressive and maybe up the size, going from like 1 or 2 contracts maybe to 3 or 4, like 5 or 6, or as many as you want? How long did it take you to sort of come up with your strategies and build a system that you're really confident with?
It's funny because I started trading when I was 25 and I didn't really have a good concept of risk
Okay.
because when you're 25, you're kind of like, woo, this is so much fun. So it's actually hilarious because I used to trade a lot more aggressively than I do now. And so when I first got into it, I said, the first 2 years I paper traded actually, and that was how I got really confident with my setups and with my strategies. So I was using fake money for 2 years. After that, I graduated to the real thing. And I started off really small. I just tried to make 50 bucks a day. I
Okay.
was like,
Yeah.
I want to make $50 a day. And then I upped it to 100, then 200, then 300. And so there was a
Perfect.
time frame, maybe like 5, 6 years ago, where I was very wild and crazy, and I would try to like double and triple my account. And now at this point, I try to go for like more easy winners,
Right.
less stress, keep the
Yes.
blood pressure lower. So
Yes.
I actually use less size now than I used to 5 or 6 years ago.
Right, but you're more, but that's true though, but you're more specific with your plays and learning. And I think that that's very important because we sit on a trading floor and it's kind of like the same learning experience, whether or not you're trading equities or options. Okay, just real quick, Danielle, what do you want to talk about? I mean, there were some ideas that you had. Great call again on Microsoft. We want to go over that. You mentioned IBM. The floor is basically yours, but we always have so much fun that we're running out of time. So let me throw it over to you. What else do you want to trade and what else do you want to talk about?
Well, first of all, I just want to show you guys, I made a new video for you on YouTube. So
Sweet.
you can check that out at Trader Danielle, no underscore. I made a video about Microsoft and how I was trading it into 430
Okay.
using butterflies. So make sure you check that out. But I want to give you some new trades here, of course. So I have a couple. I've got NVIDIA, IBM, Meta, and Amazon. So which one do you want?
Repeat those again. Amazon, Meta.
NVIDIA and IBM.
God, now if I pick the wrong one, everyone's gonna get mad at me. All right, let's go with NVIDIA.
Okay, I'm gonna do NVIDIA and ARM because,
Yep.
So looking at NVIDIA, I know everybody's gonna tell me, you're crazy. There's no way it's gonna keep going higher, but you know what? I have the setup. I've got the squeeze. So if you look at this chart on a 195-minute chart, you know what you have after it made that new high at 974. It's come back, it's consolidating, it's hooking, it's making a little bit of a cup and handle pattern here. So I think we could trade NVIDIA up into 955 and then 1,000. I love this slingshot momentum that I'm seeing. I love the incoming volume. I know this thing has been crazy, and at some point, I'm sure it's going to pull back, but I'm going to keep riding this one
Yep.
until it does. And for now, it's in a great upward trend.
And then ARM, you talked about ARM and Reddit. I mean, I actually wanted to bring up another key point there because we talked about, and I talked about this on the show, but a lot of people get FOMO, like, oh my God, Reddit has this huge move and I don't want to miss it. But a lot of that action is just because we're in first day. We're going to have second day, third day. Some of the volume's going to come in. People's hands are going to get, either lighter or heavier, depending on what positions they like. But as I look at ARM here, this is the daily chart. So we came out back in September, and this is what I want to show everybody. Like, we opened up at 55. We ran all the way to 68 that very next day, but then that cat came back, and you thought it was a goner, but then it went all the way back into $50, $51, much lower, 10% lower than its IPO price. And we all knew the story about a low float and whatnot. And then you got to get my picture out of there. Sorry, Ramin, because I'm trying to, there it is. So there's the move there. Upside, then we come back in, we hang around 50, we break below 50, we even get to $47, down 20-something% since IPO. And then you sort of get going where you talked about wait a little while for options and wait a little while for things to get going, and then we start to blow up to the upside. So I'm pretty excited for Reddit for that exact reason. Let's keep looking at that one. But ARM, is there more upside, or do you think that really SoftBank, we got to wait to hear about that sell, what they're doing with ARM in their sale there?
So, first of all, you're dead right about everything that you said about IPOs and ARM. And this is why I always tell people you are not missing out when you're not buying an IPO the first day it comes on the market, because almost always it's going to fall for a couple weeks until it can find a low, find a bottom, and find a catalyst like earnings. So with ARM, again, I know people are going to say you're crazy. It's already traded up to 164. How could you seriously trade it here? Well, because you have an IPO that bottomed out. You had two earnings reports in a row, specifically one with a breakaway gap. that's now pulled back. It's consolidated in the squeeze. It has positive volume. I think you could trade it back up into 150. That would be my quote unquote easy target, the resistance zone where it's already traded. And then after that, 160 and above. So I think this is an aggressive trade, obviously, like it's a more recent IPO. But I know there's a lot of you guys out there that like some of these aggressive moves.
I got to, I'm going to do a favor for you and you're going to do one favor for me. So Bears versus Bulls, he's our moderator. He dropped the link to your YouTube in the chat. So I'm going to say thank you so much to him for doing that. So right there, good job on that one. But I'm getting in trouble in the chat because, see, Danielle, you put me on the spot. You made me pick a name, and I knew no matter which one I picked, people would want another one. So I'm going to ask you for one more. They want to know about international business machines. And if we can talk about that, a nice little 3.5% dividend yield, that's why I started buying this name, honestly, like probably 20 years ago, because it was a dividend grower, an aristocrat. IBM now starting to take out some of these highs. What does Danielle Shay think about IBM?
So here's the thing, in my portfolio, I like to have a couple names that are a little bit more aggressive, and I like to have the more steady names like Amazon, like Microsoft. And then I also like to have stuff like this. It's not in the news every day. It's not going crazy. It's not a new IPO, but it has a great pattern. So when you look at IBM, I mean, it has this nice steady pattern ever since it bottomed out here last year. You've been in an upwards trend, and you guys know that I love earnings, and you can see last quarter it had a breakaway gap. Some of my favorite trades are on a bullish stock that has a nice trend that has a breakaway gap. It never comes back to fill, and then it's pulling back and it's consolidating. Now, nobody's talking about this one right now because it's not really doing much, right? Like, it's consolidating. It just recently made that high. So that's when you generally want to get in again. It's after it pulled back from making a new recent high, it's consolidating. You have an upside target that's a key psychological value. I love using these numbers in the options market because I can set up a butterfly. So I like having some of these under the radar names. Right now I have a butterfly, 190, 200, 210, and I'm just targeting this $200 price point on this name. So you got to mix up the kinds of tickers that you're trading, because you don't want to only be focused on like NVIDIA and AMD, because if you wake up, there's a big gap down, it's a little bit rough for you. So I like to mix up the risk.
Yeah, for sure. And one of the original AI plays, I mean, they had Watson on Jeopardy. We talked about this like 20 years ago, and it was destroying everybody. So shout out to Watson and IBM. So Danielle, traders stay late. That's our hashtag, and you definitely did today. I want to thank you so much for that. I want to make sure that everybody checks you out at Trader Danielle, both on X, and then it's on the bottom of our screen right now, and on YouTube. And let's get that YouTube channel pumped up. She's putting out free videos, guys. Go over there and have a quick look at her YouTube page, Trader Danielle. You have it up right now. Let's flash it one more time. There it is. So, yeah. Everything's groovy, man. I really like those colors on there. Go check her out for more information on options. Hey, we heard from the chat. You've made people some money, so let's go support Danielle Shay. Thank you, Miss Danielle.
Thank you, guys. I love you. I'll see you next week.
Thank you. See you, Danielle. There it is. That's Trader Talk. I mean, we just keep rolling them out. I mean, day after day, we're bringing the guests with some hot fire. I want to thank absolutely all of you for joining. And I mean, again, another great episode there. 2,500 of you are right here right now. So let me do my best with the roll call. All right, often imitated, never duplicated. I mean, all these guys on the show, I heard Adara do a roll call, was really good. Sharif does a great roll call, but let's go and let's see who's here right now with us. I always got to shout out my main guy before we even go on here. Shout out to you, Bears vs. Bulls, man. Thank you so much for everything that you do. Again, oh, there it is. What's up? Let's get home. Okay, hey, my wife, what's going on? She's in the chat as well. What's up, Marissa? Okay, I'm coming. I'll be home very, very soon. Thank you to Rob. Thank you for Oscar Plays. Yo, what's up, Chef Joe? Yo, Chef Joe, man, as soon as I'm in New York, we're going to have that steak together. Shout out to you, Chef Joe. What's up to DK, Mike Breeze? What's up to Zion, Igor, Oscar Plays? to the screen. I got to show this. What's up to JTK? What's up to Silver Do Blue? Lava. Hey, oh God. What's up, my wife? Kling Daddy. What's up, Lass? What's up, Sam Yip? Everybody, man. Everybody that's here. Piper. What's up, Danielle? What's up, Eddie R? For Profit. Everybody's here right now. Igor's in the building. Robert's in the building. All right. That's roll call. Thank you so much. It's been a fantastic day. And if I take any more time, I may be in trouble. Look, sticky note review is what it is. We'll keep. I have a typo somewhere. Oh, here's a typo. Not on the rundown. Oh no, he's not talking to me. I thought there was a typo there. Thank you so much for watching. We had a great guest. I want to thank Trader Danielle for coming through. All those options. I'm happy with those IBM plays. We like that. But before we go, wait a second. Let's just look over what some of those earnings were. And I know, Marissa, I'm not delaying on purpose. I just want to review these quickly. One, I am not Ramin. Nice move to the downside right now for Nike. Let's see if that 106 can hold. Not happy with that as we own some Nike shares. Lululemon, oops, L-U-L-U right there. Whoa, Lululemon to the downside. This could be a possibility to buy some right now. Lululemon down 8%. We'll see if that goes SSR for trading tomorrow. And look what we're bouncing into. Oh no, not the 200 period moving average, where we possibly might want to buy some shares for Lululemon. And then the big winner here today is going to be, wow, FedEx now 14%. FedEx doubling expected move right there. We did it again. It's another market recap show. Traders and wives apparently stay late. So I want to say thank you to everybody. I'll be seeing you soon, Marissa, and I'll be seeing everybody else tomorrow. Rise and shine at 8:30. I have no idea who's going to host with me. Does it really matter? It's Trader TV Live. We're here tomorrow, and I will see you all then at 8:30. Have a great evening. Give the loved ones you love a big hug. I'll see you in the morning. Ciao.